Dark Shadows, number 3-66. Air date 6/29/66. VTR date 6/15/66. Take one.
My name is Victoria Winters. Collinwood, a strange, dark mansion, brooding on the crest of a lonely hill. It's my home now, and the outside world seems a million miles away. Yet I know there are homes and warmth in Collinsport. I know there are people with hopes and dreams and unexpressed fears.
Answer your door, you drunken bum! Wake up in there! Wake up! Open the door! Open it!
Who is it?
A neighbor. May I come in? Saw the light under the door and thought I might borrow a cup of sugar.
You're Carolyn.
And you're Victoria. Or is it Vicky?
Either one doesn't make any difference, whichever you like.
Well, Vicky, on behalf of myself and my kooky family, I bid you welcome to the House of Usher.
Thanks.
On second thought, I'd be glad to help you pack.
Well, not tonight.
Well, I guess there's some of us who just love to suffer. Oh, you sure I'm not disturbing you? I have a bad habit of just popping in.
Oh, no, not at all. I was just writing a letter to a friend back home. Why don't you sit down?
When you write to your friend, all you have to say is one word. Help. Vicky, you seem like a nice person. Do yourself a favor. Go back home to New York.
You know, I've been hearing that every hour on the hour since I got here. Why does everyone want me to go home?
Oh, I didn't say I want you to go. Heck no, it'll be a ball having somebody around here to talk to. But you've been in this mausoleum a couple of hours. Do you think it'll be fun and games?
I'm willing to find out.
Victoria Winters, I think I'm gonna like you. Okay. Ask.
Ask what?
Well, I was born and brought up in this prison, and you can't tell me you don't have a couple of dozen questions. Come. No hesitation, please. It will not hurt. Very good.
Well, I do have a question.
Good. Good.
Who's Burke Devlin?
Never heard of him.
Your uncle has.
Oh, so you met Uncle Roger. What did you think of him? He's a real doll, isn't he?
Well, he seems very nice.
Nice. Vicky, Roger Collins has more charm in his right earlobe than all the characters in this icky, sticky town. Oh, he sends me, he really does. And you know who my mother wants me to be hung up on? Joe Haskell. A fisherman yet. Oh, sure, Joe's a nice guy, but, well, let's face it, Vicky. If you had your choice between a charmer like Uncle Roger and a homegrown variety, which would it be?
I didn't know you had the choice.
I guess I don't. I guess I'll never have any real choices until I can... Hey, you were asking me about someone, weren't you?
I was asking you about Burke Devlin.
Oh, yes. Burke Devlin. Burke Devlin. Never heard of him.
Sit down.
Look, Mr. Devlin, I don't even know why I came back here.
Because I asked you to. But don't worry, Joe. I won't take up too much of your time. Just, a few questions. About you and the girl you want to marry.
Carolyn? Why should you be interested in Carolyn?
Sit down, Joe. And you might just find out why.
Any coffee left in the hopper?
Few cups. Real strong, though.
I'll take my chances.
It's your stomach.
Say, Maggie, how's your father these days?
Same as always. Full of sound and fury. You want some pie?
All right. He, picks you up sometimes, doesn't he, when you're closing?
If he's in the mood. Why?
I might have a buyer for one of his paintings.
Well, that would be nice. Why don't you try the house?
Oh, I did. I rang the bell a couple of times, but nobody answered.
You should have banged on the door. You know my father. Little celebration, and he sleeps like there's no tomorrow.
Well, banging on doors isn't exactly in my repertoire. Maggie, I have to see your father. It's very important.
I wish I could help you, but you know, Pop. He could have decided to take an overnight hike to Bangor. We'll be closing in 5 minutes, so with all due respect, don't take too long.
I hear Burke Devlin checked into the hotel tonight.
That's right.
Have you seen him?
But I understand he really hit it big.
What do you mean?
Took 3 rooms on the top floor, handing out big tips. And I remember when he used to pose for Pop. For quarters. You know, it's a funny thing how fond Pop used to be of Burke. He's never mentioned him. Never mentioned his name once in all these years. I really don't think Pop will be coming tonight.
should I know what he was thinking? But if Uncle Roger took off when you mentioned this Burke Devlin's name, he must have had a good reason. He knows what he's doing. He can take care of himself. I'm not worried about him.
He seemed frightened, Carolyn. I've never seen a man so frightened.
Look, you sure you want to continue this grand tour? Because I'm beginning to think the place is really getting you down.
No, I'm all right. And I promise not another word about Mr. Devlin. Who's he?
Oh, good old Uncle Isaac. Isaac Collins. He's the one who began it all. Started the whole wingding back in the 17th century. Built the fishing fleet, founded the town, gave it a name. The works. He must have really been something. I've always thought Uncle Roger looked a little bit like him. Vicky, I know my uncle, and he doesn't scare. I don't even think an earthquake would scare him.
All right, but if...
Now what?
That door, I'm sure I closed it tightly when we came in here.
Looks like you didn't.
I know I did.
When in doubt, look. Must have been the wind blew it open.
There's no wind in here.
Vicky, you're going to have to try to get used to doors like that. It isn't easy, I know. But you'll have to try. Now, where were we? Oh. Isaac Collins, the big shot who started the whole mess. You might say he's the man who put us into the fish business. I wonder what he'd say if he could see the town now. Artist colony, summer people, and this big, fat, ugly house on top of the hill.
You want to marry Carolyn Stoddard, don't you?
Yeah? Oh, thanks.
She keeps slapping you down, doesn't she?
Look, Mr. Devlin, I don't know how you know all about this.
Joe, I know a lot more about you. I know that you work for the Collins fishing fleet. I know exactly how much money you've saved. And I know just what you're saving it for.
Now, wait a minute.
A boat of your own. Am I right?
What do you do, hire private detectives?
You're an ambitious kid, Joe. You want to get ahead. Work for yourself. I like that. But you're a dead duck as far as Carolyn Stoddard is concerned. And you know it. As long as she lives in that house on the hill.
She doesn't want to leave her mother alone up there. That makes sense, doesn't it?
Does it? Does that make sense, Joe? A woman stays in that hill for 18 years. She could walk off any time. But she won't do it. How long are you going to wait? Another 18 years?
What do you want?
I want to give you $2,375.
You what?
That'll do it, won't it? That's how much you need for that down payment on the boat you won.
And what do you get?
Information.
But I can't give you any information. Pop's a free soul, you know that. He wanders.
But you don't mind if I wait a little longer, do you?
Really, Mr. Collins, I have to close. That's what I was afraid of. Sorry, Mr. Malloy, but we're closed.
Door was open.
Well, I know that.
Saw your
but I've
car
got to...
parked down the street, Roger. I have to talk to you.
It's after business hours, Malloy.
It has nothing to do with the fleet. At least I hope not.
Oh, of course. The manager of our fishing fleet talks business only with my sister.
Roger, this is important.
I see. And the extent of my participation in family business affairs is of no importance at all. Delicately put, Malloy.
I just heard Burke Devlin's come back.
And?
Is that all you have to say?
Well, Burke was born and raised in Collinsport. Why shouldn't he be permitted to return if he wants to?
And you're not worried?
Why should I be? 10 years is a long time. I'm sure Bert and I can be good friends again.
Do you really believe that?
Look, Malloy, I have much more important things than to worry about people's goings and comings, especially an ex-convict's. But thank you anyway for your concern.
Roger, you're either a much braver man than I thought you were, or a much bigger fool. Good night, Maggie.
You sure he's coming here? Well, don't worry about it, Strake. Yeah. Hey, just pick up the bag and do what I told you. Go back to New York. All right. Oh, and Strake, about that report you did on the Collins family. It was a good job. I'm sending you a bonus. All right, Joe. This is the last place I expected to be paged.
Mr. Devlin, I've been doing a little thinking.
Have you ever been to Montevideo?
Furthest I've ever been is Boston. Mr. Devlin,
There's a bar in Montevideo. Crummy joint. Bugs all over the place. Glasses look like they haven't been washed in a year. Would you believe it, Joe? In that filthy hole was where I first started to make it big. And you know why? A character came over to my table, sat down, made me a proposition. And I didn't think. I didn't think for a minute. I snapped at it, and I was on my way.
that's you, Mr. Devlin, not me.
All I'm asking, Joe, is for you to get your boat, marry Carolyn Stoddard, and be a happy man.
I intend to do that, but I'll do it myself.
How long do you think it will take you?
Well, I'll manage.
Joe, you've been hanging around that house for a long time. You must have seen a lot, heard a lot. That's all I want to know. Anything. Important, unimportant.
Sorry.
Don't make a mistake, Joe.
Hello, Burke.
Why, Mr. Malloy. It's good to see you again.
Go on home, Joe.
He's your boss, Joe. You better do what he says.
Get some sleep, son. I'll see you in the morning.
Yes, sir.
I like that boy. Sit down, Mr. Malloy. I'll buy you a drink. I've been expecting you.
What do you want with the boy?
Oh, just a friendly little chat, that's all.
What about?
Oh, I think you'll learn that soon enough. As a matter of fact, I'm counting on it. You see, Joe will tell little Carolyn, and she'll tell Uncle Roger. And who knows, pretty soon those ghosts will start moving around again.
Burke, that family has had nothing but trouble for a long time. I'll let them live in peace.
The way they did me.
That was 10 years ago. Let it rest.
Mr. Malloy, when I was a kid, I used to go up to Collinwood and look for ghosts. We all used to think it was haunted. Well, I didn't find any then, but they're there. You know it, and I know it. They creep out of every corner and hide under every bed. Well, I didn't put them there, Mr. Malloy, but I'm sure gonna do everything I can to dig them out.
What good it'll do you?
It might give me back a lot of time I've lost.
I'll tell you what. You get up real early tomorrow morning and maybe we'll finish the tour.
It's a deal, provided I...
It's funny. More ghosts?
I was sure I put this letter in the drawer.
Maybe you took it out again before we left.
I know I didn't. Carolyn, why would anyone come up here, take my letter out of a drawer and put it on the bed?
I wouldn't know.
Unless what?
Vicky, take my advice. Lock your door and get a good night's sleep. Because come tomorrow, you are going to need it. But I'll see you in the morning.
June Moon Spoon, and that should put you in the mood for the dating game with host Jim Lang. The excitement, suspense, and fun begin right after Supermarket Sweep, every weekday morning here on ABC. Dark Shadows has been a Dan Curtis production.